Hello everybody, welcome back to Jester TCG. My name is Jester and I am looking today at the World Championships qualification update. This is coming from the perspective of someone who started playing competitively properly as far as regionals and stuff are concerned last year. So I've gone through one season of a particular kind of way to get an invite and now I'm going through a second one. So maybe things haven't changed all that much for me personally. I'm kind of like, hey, maybe I'm going to get a different kind of season every year now. Like, I don't know how this is going to work. But I thought I'd go through it and talk about it from that perspective as someone who's, very new to TCG, Pokemon TCG, and competitive stuff on a whole. So, first of all, let's talk about how you even get to qualify in the first place. The qualification system for the Pokemon World Championships is changing for the 2025 season. In 2025, a set number of players from each rating zone, age division, and game will earn an invitation to the World Championships based on their championship points leaderboard standings. This applies to all players across all the games, so TCG video games and Go. And I say video games, it doesn't include Unite. I don't know how Unite works. They have an online way for qualifying for Worlds, I believe. If that's wrong, let me know in the comments. In addition to the players who qualify via championship points, individual top performers at major events will earn automatic invitations. That is the top 4 finishers of internationals, up from the top 2, and the winner of the regional and special events. Special events weren't originally part of this as well, so I think we're looking at a potential number of about, if it's like unique people each time, I think there's up to potentially 40 people that will get invites based on that. We've only got the schedule up until Christmas at the moment. We don't know how many more events are going to get added to the schedule just yet, but as a rough guess, I think on top of the numbers I'm about to say, I think you could be looking at up to about 40 more people invited as well on top of the system. There's also a championship points season reward program for trainers who showed great dedication to play Pokemon program, which will operate to the fixed CP threshold from recent years. The fixed CP threshold being the World's Invite. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well, because I think there's definitely some ideas involved for that as well, which is kind of cool. So what do you need to do? I'm just going to cover everything as much as I can here. I'm not going to pay attention to the video game because I don't play the video game. It is all TCG for me. And again, I don't know if you want me to cover juniors and seniors, but like realistically, I only care about Masters, as I'm a Master player myself. So the Masters from US and Canada, you're looking at the top 125 players. Europe 125, Latin America 100, Oceania 20, and the Middle East and South Africa 10. Those seem like some low numbers to me. We're looking at what, 250 for US and Europe, 350, so 380 in total are going to get invites based on that in the Masters, which feels quite low. It has been said that people who get auto invites from like regional wins and etc., they won't be included in the top 125, so that could drop again as low as the top 150, 160. It could be a bit lower than that. And the other rumor that's going around, apparently it came from one particular member of one particular group that's quite well known in the community. Apparently whoever's on the same scoreline as that top 125 is also going to get an invite as well, so you could be looking at closer to like 160, 180 being invited. I'm not entirely sure how the Masters is going to work yet. Nobody does, but like it really does depend on what those kind of stipulations are. On top of that, there has been some adjustments to League Challenges and League Cups and etc. So for League Challenges and League Cups, they both now have a BFL each of 4, down from 6. And there has been adjustments as well as far as the kicker is concerned. That is all on screen right now. What you're looking at for challenges is the winner gets 15 points, second place gets 12, third to fourth gets 10th, 5th to 8th gets 8, 9 to 16 gets 6, and 17 to 32 get 4. And for cups, the winner gets 50, second place gets 40, 3 to 4th gets 32, 5th to 8th get 25, 9 to 16th get 20, 17th to 32 get 16, and 33 to 64th get 13. That is of course subject to the kickers, i.e. the number of participants in each of these events. So in total, I think you can get 260 championship points from winning all of your cups and all of your challenges, which doesn't sound like a lot right now, but I think that kind of thing will make a big difference later on in the season. On to the championship events now, and we're looking at a combined BFL for both regional, special, and international events. A lot of people aren't too happy about this because it does benefit the people that can do the extra internationals. I, for one, have gone for like 2 internationals that I'm trying to aim for this season. But by default, because of how much more points the internationals give, and we'll go through that in a second, it's kind of ridiculous in a way. For argument's sake, we'll take top 32. You get 125 points for a 32nd place in a regional. So if you're looking at 3 of those, you're looking at 250, 375. If you can fill out your regionals by the same token, you can get 1,050 points. Quite the disparity there. Like, that is quite ridiculous. You're looking at an extra, like, 225 points? Yeah, 225 points for the same position in International. Now, they are bigger tournaments, and I would argue they are harder to get those scorelines. I think these numbers do need adjusting, potentially for next season. I don't think there's much point in changing them now, just to bring it kind of, like, equal, because there's some regionals that, like, have the same, if not close to the same numbers as Internationals now. So, yeah, I can see the frustration. I do feel as though a BFL of 1 for internationals and then 5 for regionals and specials would have been absolutely fine. I don't think having a BFL of 1 discourages people from going to more internationals. Unless you're getting like top 8 at internationals, you're always going to be trying to aim to get more points. I think it's always worth it to go try and get more points. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. My initial gut reaction wasn't great about this, to be honest. I didn't feel good at all, but with the schedule that I'm trying to do, I think, you know, it's probably fine. Onto booster packs and cash prizing. Cash prizing hasn't actually changed. There's a lot of information on the screen about how many packs you're getting, but to kind of simplify it as best as possible, you can look at walking away with at least 9 boosters just for finishing in the top 512. That's kind of crazy. That is specifically for tournaments of over 2,049 players. But like the way this all stretches, like the average, I would argue, is probably going to be 1025 to 2048. So even if you get into the top 256, which I did twice last season, you're looking at least half a booster box, which is kind of crazy. Like, that seems really good. I really like what they've done here with like increasing the booster pricing, because I think getting to the top 256, that doesn't even make day 2, and well, with the new system, it almost means you aren't getting into day 2. We don't know the numbers exactly just yet, but to still get half a booster box feels pretty good. Like, you're still walking away with at least something for a decent placing. As mentioned, the cash prizes haven't changed. It is $10,000 for first place, all the way down to $1,000 for 32nd and above. Internationals, you're looking at $25,000 for the win, all the way down to $2,000 for the top 64. And the World Championships, you're looking at $50,000 for the win, and from 32nd place, you're looking at $5,000, which is kind of crazy. It does feel like with these numbers, you are trying to get into a position where potentially you are making career Pokemon players. And I don't know if that's where Pokemon want to go, but I get the feeling there's quite a few players that do. I would argue that, like, if you're regularly placing in the top 8 of regionals, even top 16, if you can supplement that cash flow with like coaching or content creation, stuff like that, even the top 32, if you're doing enough regionals and it's covering everything, I think you're going to start seeing career Pokemon players or professional Pokemon players in the next 2-3 years. It depends if they keep increasing the pricing, what else goes on, sponsorships, etc, etc. From what I understand, as someone who's quite new to all of this, it's kind of like still effectively like a very young sport, and I think Pokemon is kind of esporting it up in a way where maybe sponsorships and stuff do become more important, and I guess we'll see where it goes. Like, I'm really interested to see where it goes from here, and I think this cash prizing is, like, right now, for where the game is, I think it's more than adequate. I think it's absolutely brilliant that such high pricing is available for playing a really fun game, basically. I don't know what has been updated and what has been changed here, so I'm just going to focus on what's on the TCG. The International Championship Travel Prize updates. We're also making updates to travel prizes for qualifying players in the 2025 season. We're expanding the travel rewards program to Pokemon Go competitors, new prize tiers for TCG video game and Go, and priority registration, which I don't know if was a thing before, but they are doing it now. So if you're in the top 32 and above for the stipend qualification period, you will get priority registration both in region and out of region for international. So if you're in the UK, that would be for NAIC, LAIC, etc. Above that, 16th and above, $1,000 for both in and out of region. 8th and above stays at 1,000, and 1st to 4th get 3,500 for traveling out of region and 2,000 for in region. So basically, if I managed to get the stipend and I was in the top 4 of the leaderboard at the time, I'd be able to go to that nice yacht hotel that's by the Excel Center. That's pretty good. I can afford to do the yacht. I've always wanted to. It looks very fancy. So if you've seen the Worlds format for this year, you already know what this is going to look like, but the adjusting Swiss tournament format and top cut, similar to the 2024 World Championships, shifts to the Swiss tournament format and method for determining which players advance. The top cut will continue throughout the rest of the 2025 championship season. I've heard people say, I wish we'd have seen this in action in Worlds before we applied it to the rest of the season. But I guess it's a case of throw people into the deep end and see what happens. Like, it is kind of wild, I think. But you can see the numbers there. But basically, let's take the average 1025 to 2048. There's going to be a total of 12 Swiss rounds, with day one being 8 Swiss rounds, and you need to earn 18 match points. So you need to be winning at least 6 of your games. Otherwise, you ain't going anywhere. Now, again, this has been mentioned, it does disincentivize ties in a huge way, because ties are as good as a loss effectively, unless you go for that rank, for that area, you need to go 5-0-3, I think it is. Yeah, 15 plus 3. So it does introduce a weird, like, do I win 5 times and ID 3 times just to make it to day 2 kind of thing? And then it becomes a question of, if you do that, do you make top 8 with day 2? There is a lot of numbers that I don't fully understand, and a lot of people will pretend to understand and tell you things, but for me, it's a case of, I think you just try and win as many games as possible. That seems like the logical conclusion. There's no more 6-2-1, let's put it that way. You need to win games, and winning is the most important thing. A loss is acceptable. You can take 2 losses, that's fine. But like, trying to go for IDs and things like that has become a lot more harder, I think. On top of that, there is also asymmetrical cut, which again is being introduced into Worlds. It is kind of crazy, and I don't know if this is like a mental thing that I have, but like, I absorb so much knowledge and remember so much stuff, and all the people that I've been listening to on podcasts and things recently have gone, oh, they're introducing asymmetrical cut. Has that been put into Worlds? I don't remember seeing anything about it. Yeah, it's for Worlds. Like, they're doing this at Worlds. After all Swiss rounds are completed, the top 8 competitors plus all competitors with the same number of match points as 8th place to a maximum of 32 will advance into an asymmetrical top cut single elimination bracket to determine the winner. Easiest way to explain this is, I'm going to random points. This isn't the points. This isn't right. But if 7, 8, 9, and 10 all have 10 match points, they will have to play each other to get into the top 8. So it'd be 7 versus 10 and 8 versus 9. The winner of each of those games make it into top 8, and then top 8 proceeds as normal. That's the simplest way to explain it. The numbers aren't correct, but that's how it is. So we do have the schedule as well. Again, as a UK creator, I'm just going to focus on the European ones. We have Dortmund in September, we have Lille in October, we have Gdansk in November, and we have Stuttgart in November to December. It's the last weekend. I'm planning on doing all 4 of those, and I think I've got the time off from work. Kind of weird. Got everything booked already, other than flights. We kind of leave that until registration's actually done. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And on top of that, we also have the internationals already. Latin America is going to be November. European internationals is now February, but still in London. But yeah, February in London. It was windy enough in April. And cold enough. And North America is going to be in June. I do actually have a hotel booked for that as well, so I'm hoping to do NAIC as well. So yeah, that's all the big changes. I kind of paraphrased a lot of the stuff there just because, you know, it's not that interesting. But honestly, my opinion has changed now I've had some time with this. Yes, it's going to be a lot harder to qualify. Like, I'd say significantly harder to qualify. I think based on how I performed last year, if I iron out all the problems I have, I think I could make at least a run at it. I think I would, if I'm being positive with myself, I think I could probably finish in the top 250 this season. I do plan on doing as much as possible in regards to regionals and internationals. I always plan to, like, I was going to do that anyway. And I'm not doing it to chase the World's invite. I'm doing it to chase championship points because I'm really excited to see what these championship threshold things are. As I mentioned earlier, I think there's quite a lot of positivity that could go into the championship point stuff. So long story short, I'm going to again simplify it. It could be a case of like, if you reach 100, you get this, 200, you get this, 300, you get this. They haven't mentioned anything yet. So I get the feeling we're going to see promos. We're going to see potentially plushies, playmats, potentially a last chance qualifier for Worlds. So one of the things that I've kind of speculated about is, are they going to say, if you get 600 championship points, there's going to be an invitational event where everybody who got that threshold, will get invited in and say, hey, if you get top whatever, let's say top 8 to be kind, you then get an invite into Worlds. I think that gives you a championship point target that lets people have a chance to still get in. And I think they would do that. I think they haven't announced it because they don't know whether it's worth doing or not. Like, they don't know if we're going to see enough people to fill the venue, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, they want to fill the venue to have as much interesting stuff going on as possible. If each auto invite is unique, there's an extra 24 people that will get auto invites. Obviously, they won't all be in the same region, but if we average it out, you're more looking at the top 135 that could get invites if they're just, whether they, you know, remove the auto invites or not. So it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's still something to aim for. I personally think if you're doing a top X, I think potentially it'd be more beneficial to do a top X global rather than doing it per region, because I'll give you the best example. Oceania only getting 20 is ridiculous. Not only have they taken away their international last year and they haven't renewed it this year, but only 20 people being invited when I think it was over 100 that got an invite this year just feels mean. Middle East and South Africa, I don't know what their player base is like, but 10 seems really small. Latin America having 100, there's a lot of good Latin players. 100 feels like, all of it feels low to me. Like, when we were discussing it when the rumors were coming out, I said a top 250 would probably be fair, which would bring you to, let me just get the maths out, 500. So just doubling all these numbers, you look at it close to like 800 plus the regional and auto invites, and if there's any last chance qualifiers, I think getting to 1,000 per division, or maybe not per division, but 1,000 masters, 500 seniors and juniors would be kind of cool to see at a Worlds invite. It feels like a good pool of players, and obviously not everyone's going to turn up, but it's a good pool of invites. I don't know. I think they've gone quite harsh with the stipulations this year. Like, they could have done this in stages, or they could have said, hey, we're doing all of this now, but this season won't be too bad, next season we're cutting it back even further. I don't know, maybe next season they completely scrap this and go back to the championship point threshold, we'll see, but it doesn't stop my plans. I'm still planning on doing all the regionals, I still want to do cups and challenges and things like that, so, but with the BFL of 4, I'm definitely calming down on the cups and challenges. Like last year, I was doing a cup every weekend where I could, and occasionally double cups. Didn't do many challenges, but there's not too many close by. They're not really worth traveling for me. Cups, I was just going for. This time, so I'm just looking at our month right now. July, we've got 2. August, I've got 2. Maybe I'll squeeze in a 3rd. September, I haven't got anything yet. So, yeah, I'm just kind of like chilling. I'd love to get the World invite. I think that'd be fantastic. And there's a subconscious part of me that's like, we are kind of pushing for it. We'll sneak it in maybe. But realistically, I'm just happy to see what we get from the championship point stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know what's going on with your thoughts on the season. Whether you're going for it or not, let me know. I did post a poll on the community tab, and a lot of people weren't even interested in going for it. So thanks for watching as always, guys. All the social media links are in the description below. Really enjoying doing videos like this. I'm trying to get more time to get more vlogs done and things like that, rather than just gaming content. But it's still gaming content, you know? It's still talking about the TCG, and that's what matters. Until the next one, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See ya!